Hi there! Hope you have had a great week so far. I'm going to be presenting in this live some insights regarding mobile and modular pop-up kiosks and the importance of these pop-up stores. I have decided to look at this specific pop-up retail format because we are encountering more and more of these formats amongst our daily routines. Walking out of the metro station, or at the end of a commercial street, or at the entrance of an event, or maybe in front of a shopping mall. These pop-up kiosks are finding innovative ways to get in touch with the target audience. And we are looking at formats that are more eco-friendly and that are self-sufficient and sustainable. So it's really important to look at this retail format as it has become the new trend in retailing, and I think that this trend is here to stay. Mobile and modular pop-up kiosks are agile formats. They are punctual formats. They are efficient and effective. So these keywords might sound very scary. However, these represent these types of pop-up stores and really reflect their characterizing features. So I'm going to be talking about that in a minute. Today I have decided to look with you or to present you with these advantages of the mobile kiosks and the benefits of these types of kiosks to customers. So we're going to look at three main chunks or themes in this live today. First of all, the advantages related to the brand strategy and positioning. And then we're going to look at the importance related to distributions and communications. And finally, we're going to look at the importance of these types of stores with regards to going to meet the target audience. It's true that an important feature of these types of pop-up stores relates to this proximity between the brand and the target audience, and this is a point that I would like to highlight with you today. So modular and mobile pop-up stores are becoming more and more present on the market. They are agile, they are punctual, they are efficient, and they are effective. When it comes to brand strategy and positioning, the brand's strategic direction helps in setting clear expectations, of course, related to setting up this mobile pop-up store or mobile pop-up kiosk. In line with the brand's positioning and in line with the market's positioning and vis-a-vis the competition, a mobile unit could be conceived with respect to a brand's visual identity or an identity chart and has to reflect the brand at all levels related to colors, textures, shape, size, etc. What's going to be happening inside that kiosk and so on. Having said that, the mobile unit has to stand out and has to differentiate the brand from the competition. So think of your mobile kiosk as a differentiating tool and as a tool to set you or your brand apart from your competition. Second of all, the brand looks at these types of kiosks in terms of distributions and communications. How can this happen? Mobile kiosks help setting the brand in different locations, especially in locations that are very hard to reach if we want to use formats that are more traditional or less agile. either by using or moving the unit from one location to the other, or setting up different units in different locations at the same time. It really all depends on the brand strategy and what the brand wishes to achieve from planting these kiosks around the city or in different locations. But by doing so, the brand would gain important exposure and would increase the visibility of its kiosk and of the brand. It's really an important and an ideal way to increase visibility. Appearing in different locations so will draw attention to the brand and would help the customer recognize the brand better. And the size of this mobile kiosk really helps, as the brand could move it from one location to the other. Today there are many facilities offered by many companies in order to set up kiosks that are ready to be moved and could be easily moved or transported from one location to the other. So this location that normally would be a constraint is not an issue anymore, because the pop-up kiosk could be moved there without any problem. The kiosk itself is also a communicating tool. So as soon as we set up this kiosk or we plant it into that location, it becomes itself a way or a form of communication, as people would be drawn to it and people would be going and talking about it later on. In addition, it is an opportunity to share information with individuals who decide to get in touch with a brand or with people who would like to acquire a specific or further information about the brand. So traditional online or personal communications could all be injected and inserted in these types of mobile kiosks in order for the brand to offer a maximum visibility, not only through the kiosk itself, but through communicating this event across all of its channels, which is an important thing to do in today's busy world. And if we talk about the target audience, then the kiosk would help join the target audience in specific locations and where the happening is going on. So the pop-up store or the pop-up kiosk would appear at the right time in the right location when the customer least expected but would be really happy to see it. And the mobile pop-up size, shape and representation makes it look more relevant and more approachable. Therefore, when it pops up in this location and at this time, the customer would feel that the pop-up store has answered to its specific needs at that particular moment in time. So today's customer would appreciate such initiatives more than ever. And it's really important for the brand to think of the strategy that would best meet the customer's needs and in an efficient and creative way. What are the main characteristics of a pop-up mobile kiosk? Well, I have displayed them on the screen in front of you in order for you to have a clear idea. Pop-up store kiosks are very creative. They could allow the brand to reflect its identity in a compact way, in a small way, and in a creative way. It could focus on an idea, on a product or a service it wants to offer to the customer. It has the advantage of location and has a great advantage of proximity. So these types of pop-up kiosks would be planted in locations that are close to the target audience, and that would create that bond between the target audience and the brand. So it's really important to understand that these main characteristics really put that kiosk on the top of the list of the brands who wants to get in closer touch with their target audience. If I would say that there is a characterizing feature for these pop-up kiosks, I would say that not only that they are close to the target audience, but they are punctual. Punctuality is key today for brands who wish to appear in the right time in front of the right target audience in order to offer them something that is relevant. So punctuality would mean that the pop-up store happens to be in a location where customers are and would be able to get in personal or closer touch and contact with them. Another advantage is the advantage of cost. Of course, if we compare the cost of a kiosk to a traditional pop-up store or an elaborate storefront, we would see that the costs are very interesting. It all depends, of course, on the brand's needs and the brand's envelope in terms of a project. However, the cost is really interesting when the brand could calculate the revenues or the positive effects that could be held or received from this type of store. Also, most of the companies today that are working with mobile kiosks are offering services that are self-sufficient and autonomous. So the pop-up kiosk would exist and would be operating with all the technical aspects that it needs in terms of electricity or maybe connections, etc. Because, and this we'll talk about it later, there are many options today that facilitate the types of projects related to pop-up stores or pop-up kiosks. Shall I say that visibility is also a characterizing feature? I think yes, because if we're planting the pop-up kiosk in the right location and in front of the right target audience and during the right seasonality or timing, it would generate great visibility to the brand, and this is really important. And finally, these pop-up kiosks could be part of the brand's journey or the journey that it offers to the customer. So the customer would, through that pop-up kiosk, get in touch with the brand and could visit many brand touch points between online and offline, etc. So this is really important, and this is something to be taken into consideration when a brand is thinking of planting a pop-up store. I would take the opportunity to talk about a French company who is developing pop-up kiosks and developing pop-up kiosks that are self-sufficient and that are autonomous. And this company is called Picnic. You could, of course, go and check the websites and get information related to the services, but I would like to highlight what they have been doing because I have been really interested in their services. So the French company Picnic produces locally these mobile pop-up kiosks, and they propose many ways to reinvent the experience of proximity. And their offering is cost efficient, it offers the ease of mobility, and it offers solutions that are eco-friendly and sustainable. And all of these three things are the main pillars of today's retail needs, right? So cost efficiency, yes, because the pop-up kiosk could be moved in locations that are really attractive to the brand and that could generate or draw attention and really help the brand translate all of these visits into greater transactions, which is really important. Also, in terms of the operating costs, these types of kiosks offer renewable solutions through the solar panels that exist on top. I will show you of these types of kiosks in order to generate energy and to be self-sufficient. So really important in today's world. Also, these types of kiosks could be transported or moved from one location to the other, depending on where the brand would like to plant them. So you could move your kiosk, your same unit, around the city in order to meet your target audience when you want and at the time that you think is most relevant to them. Also, these types of kiosks are made out of material that is sourced from trusted sources. It uses material that is eco-friendly and it uses material that does not harm the environment. And these are not to be neglected in today's choices, in our today's retail choices. So these examples that I have showed you are examples of pop-up kiosks that Picnic have created in order to meet the needs of a brand at a particular time and in a particular location, and it's really interesting. So I would advise you to go and check all of these projects on picnic.paris. So I would take a little bit of time to go back and answer your questions. So my question is whether a brand could personalize its kiosk or not. Well, yes, today a brand could personalize its kiosk in order for it to meet its brand identity elements. However, there are brands who have less budget in order to develop these types of kiosks. Therefore, I think there are solutions today to rent kiosks and to personalize some elements of that kiosk. So I hope I have answered your question there. And the second question would be, are kiosks autonomous in terms of energy and are they connected? So yes, today many solutions are presented in these types of kiosks, and they use solar energy in order to generate the electricity, or in order to generate the needs it would have in order to operate its material, maybe fridges, maybe computers or digital screens, etc. So these use solar panels. I will show you again the picture in order to generate energy, and some of them also use wind energy in order to generate whatever it needs in terms of energy. I will check here. I think I have answered these questions. And don't hesitate to drop your questions if you have any. So I would go back with you and share some highlights about this topic. Pop-up stores or mobile pop-up kiosks are really important today, and they help the brand generate better visibility and help the brand get a closer contact or be at closer proximity with their target audiences, or go to other areas in order to meet new audiences. This is not to be neglected because brands today need the exposure and need to grow their customer base, and these formats could help the brand easily move into locations in order to start making or generating the contact with target audiences. Also, these mobile pop-up stores appear at the right time and in the right location, at the heart of the happening. If there is an event that draws the brand's attention and where the brand's target audience would be located, it is the perfect opportunity to go and plant your pop-up store's kiosk in order to grab their attention and to get the most of that event in order to maybe sell a product or exchange information or propose services, etc. And finally, the mobile pop-up store presents a relevant offer or service when the customer needs it the most. Just by being there at the right time and in the right place makes the pop-up store really look like something we expected at that time, or a solution that we expected or at that time, and would give the brand a greater value because it happened to be there. It's really interesting to think about all of these things. I hope that this live was beneficial, and that I managed to highlight the importance of pop-up stores in their mobile formats, or pop-up store kiosks. And I hope that I have answered your questions. Hopefully next week we would be drawing some highlights on other topics related to pop-up stores. I will be announcing that soon. And I wish you all a great weekend and stay in touch. Bye!